My goals before the match today were threefold. 1. Talk about a win. 2. Celebrate and reflect on the first team debut of Ilaix Moriba and exciting games from Alex Collado, Konrad de la Fuente, and Riqui Puig. And 3. Gloat about Real Madrid being knocked out in one of the biggest upset in the Cup's history. Though Atletico Madrid getting knocked out by Cornella wasn't much better the week before. Fortunately, I think we hit about 60% of that list, but unfortunately, the gloating thing doesn't feel all that great at this point after Barcelona's performance. Let's start at the beginning, though, with the lineup. Lenglet got the captain's armband over Griezmann and Neto, so seniority reigned on that one, but that wasn't the exciting part of the 11. Griezmann and Pjanic starting, and I add to that Collado and Konrad being the only B players on the bench as hints that Barca want to win a trophy this season. Any trophy. As I've said for months, if Puig, Junior, and Braithwaite are good enough to be in the first team, then they're good enough to beat a third division side. They aren't 18-year-olds. The surprise, but not really a surprise, based on the news since Carlos Soleña went to Adafe on loan, Ilaix Moriba, the 18-year-old in the side, was going to be making his first team debut today. He played well against Cornella right before Christmas, and from what I saw, it was arguably his best match of the season. I've watched about 80% of Barca B matches, and he was obviously the player that I was watching a bit closer than the rest today. And I think that might mean that I might have overanalyzed as well. To start this contest, Cornella got 3 corner kicks within the first 7 minutes, knocking on the door of the goal early. And watching the other Copa del Rey matches, not just Cornella upsetting Atletico or Real Madrid getting knocked out by Alcoyano, even Ibiza against Athletic Club. It has taken these Giants some time to find the match against these lower sides who are playing at home. Cornella certainly came into that match with the expected fight, and I think enjoying playing on their artificial turf in a way that Barca players do not enjoy playing on turf. But again, you're professional football players, you should be able to play anywhere, so I keep seeing that argument, I want to throw that out. Cornella defending in a 4-4-2 with some light pressing, trying to play a high line and working the offside trap at times. While the home side started on the front foot, Barca started moving the ball better, recycling possession to Puig and Ilaix, and a lot of horizontal movement, with Griezmann often checking back to receive and send out to Junior or Mingueza to try to spread out Cornella's back line. Barca, though, were giving up an uncomfortable amount of set pieces through that first half. All it takes is one, and then you're left breaking down a 10-man wall for the rest of the match. It felt, though, like on every counterattack when Barca were getting out of pressure, one player would do something well, and then the next thing was left wanting. Puig would turn well, and then Junior would give the ball away trying to play a through ball for Griezmann. Or Trincao would help start the counter and do something good, and Puig would give the next ball away by underhitting it. Trincao, like he has been all season long, was a little hot but mainly cold in this match, but he did get a really good volley off in the 33rd minute off a Barca corner, his brightest moment of the match, and it's a shame that one didn't go in. Barca got their penalty though, the first penalty, when Estéas fouled Araujo off a free kick. It's just reckless by the third division player. Araujo got around him, and he leaned back and kicked at it instead of going at the ball himself as Araujo did. Pjanic got the penalty, took it, but it wasn't very good. Roman Juan Ramirez, who we're going to talk about plenty in this match review, guessed right, found it low, and didn't allow a rebound. Moving to the second half, Dembélé on for Puig on the right. And I think that bigger conversation about Puig, you know where Francesca and I both stand on this, but I guarantee that that conversation will continue on next week, regardless of what happens against Elche. So I'm going to put a pin in that. We can talk about that later. That put Trincao on the left and Griezmann underneath Braithwaite. And right at the start of the second half, Trincao starts the movement, then Junior to Griezmann to Braithwaite for the best chance up to that point of the game, but Braithwaite hits it right at the keeper. The match got a little messy in the second half after that. Lots of fouls, lots of late challenges. The Araujo injury scare with his arm. Almost nothing until Griezmann got a chance behind the defense off a free kick in the 58th minute, but he couldn't keep the volley down. A minute later, Neto was forced to make a save himself. Moving to the 74th minute, Busquets on for Ilaix and Pedri on for Trincao. Now at this point, let's talk some Ilaix Moriba. I think those who haven't seen him before might not know what type of player he is, because I think we assume that unless there are explicit reports that he's a defensive midfielder like Oro Busquets or Hunter Oriana, every midfielder has a lot of attacking flair. That's just what we assume. And I'm noticing from the feedback from that match, that's the type of player that people were told that they were going to see, so they were disappointed when they didn't see that. Ilaix was the biggest player on the field back when he was scoring goals in that time in the youth academy when you might have seen the highlights. But now that he's playing against adults, he's showing more of the player that I think he is. He's closest to a box-to-box midfielder that can get a shot off, can make a tackle, can shuttle the ball around, and move it quickly, as we expect all academy midfielders to be able to do. But he doesn't necessarily control the pace of a game yet, or do any of those things exceptionally well. But I do expect him to get better at those things. Because for the time being, he's an all-around good midfielder for his age. But nothing particularly special, but that can change quickly with some reps, confidence, and the competition of getting into the first team. Remember, this is technically a season when he was still going to be with Juvenal A, and he winds up being a starter for Barcelona B. So just think of this year as his first year of maybe 2 in Barca B. And if he's breaking the first team already, he's on the right track, and I'm not worried about Ilaix Moriba for even a second. 80th minute, the moment comes again. Lenglet fouled in the box, and Barca once more have a penalty, and this time Dembélé takes it. Terribly taken penalty, right up the middle, somehow worse than Pjanic, and it's easily blocked once again by Ramon Juan. 2 chances, 2 miss, and that was the moment when I really thought that Barca might not come out of Cornellá with the result, honestly. And the stat, Ramon Juan is apparently the first keeper in history to save 2 Barca penalties in one match, so congrats to him. Again, the moments that maybe can make careers in the 3rd division for these players. 88th minute, Pjanic had a chance to put the game on ice, long shot saved by the keeper. Araujo on the ensuing corner kick misses the target on an open header, and it feels like we're going to extra time because we are. Also the first time in Barca history that we've gone to extra time in 3 consecutive games. Prior to this month, obviously against Real Sociedad Athletic Club and then against Cornella, it was 1916 in April and May of 1928, the only other 2 occasions that happened. Fortunately, the other Giants that went into extra time, there you go, I got my Real Madrid dig in, Barca were prepared when extra time started. Dembélé creates the chance, but Ramon Juan saves it, but a minute later, Dembélé again finds some space in between the lines and gets enough power on it to beat the keeper at his near post. But that's credit to Dembélé that was blasted into the back of the net, and the other credit here is the man who gets the assist, and that is Pedri, because he certainly did change this game. Busquets and Pedri, when they came in, Busquets really going to work and suffocating the game and making that match be played at Barcelona's pace, basically from the 75th minute on. Pedri as well, the advanced metrics say that he was probably the best player in the 46 minutes that he did play, not necessarily my man of the match, but it's funny that you do have to put on an 18-year-old midfielder to calm the game down in ways that Braithwaite and Griezmann don't do, but that's nothing new to anyone who's been watching all of what we've been seeing all season long. 101st minute, Konrad on for Griezmann, forces another save by Ramon Juan within a minute of getting on the field. Instead of complaining about Trincao or others, I'll say it's great to see Konrad capturing the moment and playing well in extra time, and Cornellá was pushing men forward. He wasn't necessarily too great when he debuted in the Champions League, and actually he's had hot and cold games for Barca B as well, but I think that has a lot to do with the fact that he's often on the first team bench and not always playing with Barca B. So I think being shuffled back and forth isn't really great for a player who, as I mentioned before, more than anything, just needs consistency and time and playing at a good high level for multiple matches in the row. And he hasn't gotten that. So it was good to see him hungry and confident and wanting to make an impact in this match. So kudos to Konrad on that. In the second extra time, Barca holding on. Araujo takes another whack and a red card for Estéas. Araujo probably my man of the match at this point, I'll say it. Maybe just because he took as many hits in a nasty match like that. It was ugly, disjointed, but still, Barca kept a clean sheet, and I think Araujo deserves a lot of credit on that. He once again outplayed Lenglet, and seems like the only one on this entire team who wins any aerial duels at all. The 2-0 to end the game put a cap on it. Right before the final whistle, Dembélé lays off for Pedri because Cornellá were throwing bodies at turning the ball over, and Pedri, alone with the keeper, lays off to Braithwaite for the FIFA goal. So Braithwaite gets a goal, and that's the only compliment I have for the striker today that should have been much more dangerous than he was. He should have helped with build-up play, which he did not do in those ways. So I was really disappointed by the performance from Braithwaite, because I know we can say that he shouldn't be going out and scoring game winners against Real Madrid and El Clasico, but this is a level that Braithwaite should still be dominating in the Copa del Rey. We'll end with a side note here. It was kind of a joke that Alex Callada couldn't feature in this match, I think, at all, as if Pedri had to play against Cornellá to get the result, which we obviously know is true. Callada, though, was the best player against them last time, and I know you can't have everything in a match, but I was frustrated that Braithwaite shouldn't have played the whole game when Callada has earned his minutes and at least earned the opportunity to be in the Copa del Rey. I'm not saying that he deserves first team minutes or throw him into the first team. As I've said, he's been the best player in the 3rd division this year, and this game was probably actually calling out for someone like Callada. So even if you have to be a little creative with that formation, remember, he's made his first team debut over 2 years ago. He's not a spring chicken, and this is a match that he certainly could have featured in. But as we know, Koeman was desperate to get a result, so he didn't want to take any chances by even risking putting in one of not his guys into this match. Because that's part of the problem, too, with Koeman's tactics. Tactics from Koeman, not getting the best out of his players. Messi, you can't blame the system on him because he didn't feature in this match. You can talk about Puig and Junior for not getting match time, or Ilaix for even being nervous in this match, but the showing from some of the veterans, again, Lenglet, Braithwaite, Pjanic, fine. They were fine. Not good, not bad, just fine. Pjanic was out of position as the pivot, but still not too dissimilar from what he did at Roma prior to Juve. And you know what? The guy has been a professional for like 14 years, so he should be able to play 5 meters deeper than he normally does. I think it was just another example where I wonder what instructions the players were given. Kind of passing the buck to Koeman on this. Whether it's balls over the top to counter that high line, which Trincao should have been doing, and they only caught him on that once or twice, or having Griezmann come through the middle and work through him, There didn't seem to be a game plan with any teeth to win that midfield battle, and that's honestly a bit unfair to the younger players to put them in that situation. But for Koeman and this team, getting through was the bigger objective, I know that. It's the only trophy that Barca can win, and now with Atletico and Real Madrid out, Barca need to be the favorites, and they have to play like it too. It wasn't the best, but a result nonetheless. So until the next one, Forza Barca.